Yeah. So pull up your seat. Let's have a look at the
Okay.
fangufangu. My approach with making fangufangu is, if you want to be, you can be as hands-on as you want, or you can be as hands-off as you want. So, like for example, I'll cut this piece on the saw here, and if you want to cut the other side, then you're welcome to. If not, if you're not comfortable with it, then you don't need to do anything. So up to you.
Yeah, I'm happy to help.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, that's incredible. And you design all these as well.
Yeah, just like been trying to figure out how to add more, a little bit more designs. Because when you look at fangufangu in the museums, they have different sort of different designs and markings on them, and so it's just a attempt to sort of reflect that practice as well of marking the fangufangu and sort of beautifying it in a way. I mean, it's not too different to what we do with, I mean, it's the same thing with our ngatu, right? And then also the same thing with the akautau, the Tongan war clubs.
Right.
When you look at those, those are really beautiful. The Auckland Museum has a beautiful collection of those, and then like some of the designs of those just blow my mind because of how intricate they are. Like the level of detail on them. I'm like, these must be at least 200-300 years old.
It's incredible.
So how did they have such like fine detailed craftsmanship on it, right? It's amazing. Okay, let's cut this piece.
Yes. I love this shit.
I must warn you, this isn't OSH safety, this is all just non-safe practices.
Yeah.
I apologize if,
Wow. What do you think they used as a whip, like to cut?
To cut, that's the question. I have no idea. I mean, like
So
they
interesting.
had adzes, the toki. I mean, you would have had to hifi it, right? You can't just chop the bamboo like this, otherwise it'll just split. But I don't know. That's the question. I have all these questions around like, how did they cut this? How did they put the holes into it? But yeah, I'll get you to come sit on here.
So it's just hold this down, right?
Yeah, and then press the lever with your thumb to pull it in.
This one?
Yep, and it'll.
Okay, right.
And then just bring it down. Yeah,
okay, perfect.
Nice. Yeah, awesome.
I was like sweating. I was like, man, this is not easy, Saya.
Nah, you got it. You got it.
Here,
perfect. Okay, so what we're going to do now is measure the holes on it. Sia, where are you from, Tonga?
From Fasi and Fatai.
Fasi. Oh, ko hae o ingoa family.
The Santos.
Santos. Ah, okay. Santos.
Yeah, we Catholic.
Catholic. Oh, true. Is that like a European Spanish background?
Yeah, my dad.
Oh, true.
Portuguese.
Portuguese.
Yeah.
And how did they come to Tonga?
Yeah, that
Missionaries?
grandfather. I know the grandfather worked in a boat.
Oh.
I had work in a boat like a maid, eh?
Okay.
And they went to Tonga, and he stayed in Tonga and married in Tonga.
Ah, okay. So your grandfather, who was from Portuguese,
Yeah, and
married a Tongan woman.
Yeah.
Ah, you speak Portuguese?
No, only my dad.
Ah, so, but you would have heard your mum speaking Portuguese? Sorry.
only my
No,
dad.
sorry, your dad speaking Portuguese.
Yeah, my dad speak really good language.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool heritage. Tongan Portuguese.
Yeah.
So this is just to make sure there's a straight line when you measure the holes. But I love what you've been doing. I love that. I've been listening to your new song. What's it? Keep you.
Oh,
Here?
thank you.
It's beautiful.
I think it's one of those, like, you know how you were saying finding your truth? I was running away from music.
Yeah.
And then now it's like coming into the space, relearning it.
Yeah.
And read. You know, ko loa you whainga and try, you know?
Koia. That's it.
But your music is beautiful, bro. I was listening, to some of your stuff on Spotify.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Do music too.
Yeah, with the fangufangu, mum.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah, just trying, just whakamono.
It's good.
So let's drill some holes. Have you used a drill
Oh, I
before?
haven't used it. Yeah.
So there's a little pointy end at the end of this drill, so it's as simple as just placing it up against the marker. And so what I've done here is I've just marked the 2 dots at the end, which is roughly about 1 centimeter to the end of the fangufangu. And then between that, I'll just measure the middle, and then the middle of those two marks. So we have like an even distribution of the 5 holes. So we just put the little pointy end on the marker. Usually just try to keep it straight here, hold it on the end. Yeah, so
Wow.
just add a bit of pressure to it.
Yeah.
And then push it through, and then, yeah, it'll be fine. So feel free to have a little jam on
Okay,
this
yeah,
one.
thank you. It's always good to learn new things. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Give
No,
it a
I
go.
want to be as like hands-on with the approach, but if
Yeah.
people are not comfortable with it, then you don't need to.
So I'm scared, but I'm like, you have to try.
Nah, you got it.
You have to try, you know?
That's it.
Oh, okay, yes.
Is that all right?
Yes.
Nice.
Perfect.
Okay. You comfortable to try
Yeah,
this
I'll
one?
give it a try.
Let's go.
Because I think it's also a learning experience for us creatives.
That's the thing.
You know, we have, yeah.
I see this as all of us learning to make the fangufangu.
Yeah.
It's not just a matter of learning to play it, but then you can go away and not do anything with it, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But you've also added your hand in making this koloa, so then you can say that you participated in the creation of it.
Okay, lovely.
Nice. You comfortable to do the rest of it?
Yes, I can give it a try. Yeah,
Let's
thank
go.
you. So do you sell your pieces?
The fangufangu?
Yeah.
I do sell them. I'm conscious that, like,
Okay.
yeah, I don't know. I have a funny kind of attitude towards the commodification of things. So, like, just turning it into like a money-making kind of business, which is not person. I don't think you'll be profitable if you're making fangufangu, but I don't know. My approach at the moment is like, if people want to come and get one, I'd rather spend time with them making it rather than me selling you something and you going away, and that's syncs up the relationship.
All right.
Because to me, it's more meaningful for me to have you be part of the making process, and then the time that we spend together, to me, is worth more than the value of you giving me any amount of money for the fangufangu.
Wow.
But again, it's also like a transfer, like an exchange of knowledge as well. So then you
Yeah.
share things with me, and I share things with the people that I'm with, and yeah, I think
That's
it's
beautiful,
fun and
bro.
valuable.
Okay, we're almost there.
Almost there. Let's go. So you've been rehearsing for Jason's lyrics.
Yes.
I saw the event for that. That's cool. That's exciting.
Yeah.
So that's like an original story you guys put together.
It's so there's 5 writers and they're all telling a little piece of their script
okay.
as
okay.
a theater performance.
Oh, so is that all separate stories, or is it
Separate
all...
stories.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And this is your like, is this like your debut writing?
Yeah, so I'm gonna be stepping to writing and directing the piece.
Oh,
yeah.
but you're acting in it as well, are you?
No.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's my story, but I felt like I had to step away from it
Wow.
to get
true.
someone else to
That's exciting. That's cool.
see how. Yeah, if you're free, bro, you're more than welcome to come.
Yeah, I'll get
Yeah.
my family
Yeah.
will book some tickets.
Okay, cool.
So how's that process been? I mean, you, like, obviously you're familiar with acting, but
Yeah.
this is your debut directing and
And writing. Yeah.
Wow.
It's so much joy.
Yeah?
You know, because for me, Chase was like, "Oh, you should just tell the story. You should act." And I go, I could, but I will be not focused.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I think I'll be so in performance that I won't think about how the piece would translate in terms of directing it
Yep.
and thinking about the writing. So I was like, nah, I'll step away from the acting, get another talented, incredible individual to step in, and then really work with her to tell the story and bring it to life.
With art in general, and knowing that, you have experience with like whaiva whakatonga and taolunga and whatnot, do you think that, and like to me, those performing arts are like a direct expression of Tongan culture. Like if you're doing a Tongan whaiva, that's obviously Tongan culture. So then one thing that I'm conscious of is like, how do we express our Tongan culture, our Tongan sort of indigeneity in different forms of art that are not like traditional to our culture, right?
Yeah.
So then when I think about like hip hop, like beats, for example, like to me the question is, how do I express this sort of Tongan identity in this? And it's a space that I'm still navigating. But I think of this idea of Mārie and Mamarie. Because for you, for example, you've been involved in pageantry and pageantry has a direct relationship with beauty and this idea of beauty. And I often think about this idea of like Mamarie and beauty in the context of whaiva.
Oh, wow.
So like when you think about taolunga, and especially if you compare Tongan taolunga or Tongan whaiva to Samoan, for example, often I hear comments, and this is coming from someone who is not a punake, who has no experience of like any sort of like choreography in the Tongan context, but I often hear about how like when the women are, when the taolunga is mamarie, and that shows grace, then that directly correlates with this idea of beauty. Yeah? So then like it's almost like mamarie is a direct expression of this idea of beauty. It's like a Tongan way of expressing beauty. And then to me, like, one way of expressing that is what we're doing here. Because this whole process of coming together and making together is very slow. This is not just you coming, buying, and then going away, and you have something with you.
Yeah.
So then the time, the va that we build, that we spend in spending together, this mamalia is like a way of trying to express this idea of beauty, because this aspect of beauty is about relationships and building that relationship. And I'm still trying to like figure out what does that look like in terms of music, because like how music is, the soundscape of Tonga is at the moment, is like it emulates like the world's like flavor, this taste of like upbeat pop kind of flavor, kind of style. Whereas like I'm thinking, where does this idea of mama lie or mare fit into this like context of sound? And I don't know how much thought you've given to it, but like in writing, like how do you express like Tongan indigeneity or like Tongan aspects of culture in the written form, and even like how you might direct something. And sorry, I'm talking a lot here, but like I was talking to my brother, and he loves movies, but he loves slow-paced movies.
Oh, right, yes.
So when you think about The Orator, have you seen The Orator?
Yeah.
When you think about The Orator, there are long, slow shots. And to me, like that method or that like style of like long shots is a way to express mamarie. And you could almost, in my mind, you could argue that that's a way of expressing like maybe Tongan, and even though it's not a Tongan movie, but like it's one way through like the lens of movies of expressing like Tongan indigeneity or Tongan ideas of beauty through mamarie.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm just talking a lot here, but have you given any thoughts of like how beauty can be expressed through writing or through like, especially from a Tongan sort of point of view?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's a great point that you brought this up, because it's not until I came, and watched all the incredible performers for A New Dawn, which I thought was so
that
beautiful,
was amazing.
So amazing. And I already originally had the idea of, okay, we already started rehearsal, how I thought, okay, this is how the story is going to be. And it's not until I came and I watched everyone's performances, and then I walked away feeling a bit sad.
Okay.
Because even though it was incredible, and I was telling my mom, I loved it. I loved all the performances.
Yep.
And I said to my mom, as a Tongan, I could only relate to Saya's piece.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I was like, I could only relate to Saya's piece so it started at 10 and it ended at 8:30.
Yep.
I go, Saya's piece was the only one I could relate to. And I go, and I wonder how many other Tongans who came and watched walked away feeling a sense of a bit of emptiness.
Sure.
Because a lot of other cups were filled.
Yeah.
But our cup was, we had water in it.
Yeah.
But as a community, like bringing our own different, finding our truth and sharing it.
Yeah.
And I said to my mom, man, I could only relate. I loved everyone else's performances, and I appreciate it. And I go, I can only relate to Saya, and I really felt, man, a lot of us Tongans, in terms of like really putting ourselves out there and sharing our truth, is not a lot.
Yeah.
And so I went back, and you talking about, Ma Lie, I restructured the whole piece of my show.
wow.
Yeah, I
True.
restructured the whole piece of my show.
Yep.
And I said to myself, I need to incorporate, like, instead of, because I was writing, oh, what would the audience want? What would what would be, and it was more of like a fast paced.
Yeah.
And so I took that away,
true.
and I go, I need to not be afraid to share the parts of me that are slow.
Yeah.
That is beauty to me, but everyone else doesn't. They have never seen that beauty side. Do you know what I mean? It's a different beauty. It's a depth.
Yeah.
And so I had to put that slow piece and vulnerability into my play because it's truthful.
Wow.
You know what I mean? But like I said, it was not until coming, because right when I seen you, bro, I was like, I need to connect with Saya. I didn't really realize why.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's for the Fangufangu. And then seeing part of my play, and that's what we'll talk about later on, bro. And I was like, I feel like Saya's music is in this piece. Especially there's because Mele, which is me. So it's a solo performance, but each character has their own song. And I said to myself, Mele's song is not something that's commercial that you just turn on. And I go, what is it? And then something was like, it's Saya. It's one of Saya's pieces. Yeah. And so I had this conversation with my mom, and I was like, I'm not sure if you've ever put music into like a theater piece, or you've ever considered it, or you were like, no, Diamond, that's not something I do. But I was like, I wanted to ask Saya if it was okay, like, you know. And if not, that's totally fine. You'll hear me try to attempt to play when she comes out. Yeah.
Oi, what an honor. What a privilege. Holy cow. I was not expecting this at all. But of course. Holy cow. This is, the dancers, yes. The method, the approach, I'm open to whatever. If you wanted to like use one of the recorded pieces, if you wanted me to create something, if you want a live piece or whatever, then either way the answer is yes.
Yeah.
But that's
thanks, Saya. Yay,
amazing.
I'm excited. So when you said that, I was like, that's so interesting. Yeah. So I had to really just take away the loudness of the piece.
Yes.
And really just just tell it for what it is.
Yeah.
Instead of, oh, this is probably what they want. Or I was like, no, it's not that.
Yeah.
And so, that's what I meant. I was listening to some of your music on Spotify.
Yeah.
And during rehearsal, I was trying music.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then your name popped up. I'm like, okay, I'll try it.
Yeah.
And then when I tried it, I was like, I can even see her performance change.
Wow.
When your song came in, and I go, that's it. It's just a simplicity of just going back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. No, I really appreciate that. It feels like it's not even coincidence that we're having this conversation around you being at the performance and having this sense of like, sort of rethinking what the direction of the play might look like. Okay, so let's have a look at how it sounds. After initially drilling the holes, usually if it makes some sort of sound, then that's a really good sign. So let's see. Like that sounds clean already.
Wow.
It sounds good already. Okay, so I'll just shape it a little bit, and then I think the sound itself will be good. One thing to consider is the aesthetics. So like, what's the kind of look that you want to have on it? You can see some of those black ones. Those are charred, so I've used this to like burn the outside, which is it's not a long process. But I'll usually add some marking to it as well. So
That is so incredible. Has the museum ever approached you to have your work?
not really, no. I think like me as a maker and an artist, I'm still sort of finding my way to sort of express my craft. And I know that like a traditional pathway for a lot of artists is to look to other institutions like galleries and museums as a outlet to show off their craft in terms of like art And it's not that I haven't. It's not that I don't want to go in that direction, but I'm interested in just a more relational aspect of like creating and making and dissemination of art through that way. So then this kind of thing, I was in a village in Samoa last month making fangufangu with a couple of boys, and
Wow.
I think one aspect of that is me documenting it to like have something to show for that.
Yeah.
But to me, like this is us taking ownership of our own stories. So we're telling our own stories from our own perspective. We're shaping it in our own way, and rather than it's not that it's not done properly when you go to like an art gallery and you get them to like show off your work, or you go to a museum and do that. But I think there's a extra step of ownership when you just sort of doing things yourself.
Yeah.
I guess it's around ownership.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense. Yes, absolutely.
So you released your song, and what was the process of that in terms of like how that song came to be released? Are you part of like a record label, or is this like an independent release kind of thing, or what's the process there?
Yeah, so I'm independent. I do have a distribution company.
Yep.
And it's just like, because I don't really know too much about that space.
Yep.
So learning it, understanding it, but I feel like over time, once I venture and understand how distribution works and how it like, I can like, instead of going to people and doing it, just come back and bring it back to myself, if that makes sense. Because it's like, with record labels, it was a bit confusing.
Yeah.
Because it was like, we can actually just do it ourselves.
We can.
You know?
We can, 100%.
And with distribution, it was a topic of I didn't really know. So I was like, okay, let me actually sign up with someone, then learn from them how they do it, how they work, and then eventually later on be like, okay, I can do it myself. Yeah.
Cool.
So it's just more of like a learning curve. Yeah.
Because, sorry, I forget the title. Keep You Here?
Keep You Here, yeah.
That's your first single, right?
It's my first single, yes.
Like your first solo release as an artist.
solo
Like
release.
you featured with like Connects and other people in the past through music, but that's your first solo release. That's amazing. That's so cool.
You know what? It's so interesting. So, a lot of cultures do this.
Yeah.
But they just call it different things, don't they?
Yeah. Yep. Or I mean, a lot of like the fangufangu is all across the Pacific, all across the moana, in different like variations, different forms. Towards Eastern Polynesia, like in Tahiti and Hawaii, they have fangufangu which look more like this, where the end is open, and then it will have like maybe 3 holes and a variety of holes.
Oh wow!
But then yeah, Philippines, Taiwan, across a lot of the Asians, India, yeah, and they have different types of flutes.
But I think the Polynesian, they used the shell, not that one.
Yes.
It's becoming a lost art, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's not as like popular as I mean, like I feel like with the introduction of modern instruments like the guitar and banjo, and when you have those at like spaces like whaikava or just around in family houses where they sing with those modern instruments, then those kind of instruments bring people together a lot more than a fangufangu, in terms of your ability to participate along with it and sing along with a song that someone's playing on the guitar. And maybe we haven't produced songs or composed songs that centers the fangufangu, that allows everyone to like participate together. It's because it's not as common and as popular, then it's not as easy to like use it as a way to I don't know, bring people together, I guess.
Yeah, man, this is beautiful.
Yeah, give it a go.
I'm so happy. I'm like, look.
That's right. When no, you got it.
I need to practice.
Yeah,
but this is cool.
do you have any thoughts around like any markings, or do you want to keep it plain, or what's your?
I think I love it like.
Let's do that. That's actually my favorite. I like that.
Oh, right, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to hang the fangufangu on this nail.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was trying to figure out how you got to change the color. I thought you spray painted it.
Nah. So
That's cool, huh?
As you keep the heat on it, it then starts to
Wow.
get black. But I'll get you to have a go.
Yeah, I'll give it one. Thank you, bro.
You just slowly move it
Okay.
around.
Oh, sorry.
No, this is what happens.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
the drip. Yeah. So it's just this is just the moisture from inside the fangufangu. It's actually good because it helps to dry out the fangufangu.
Oh, right.
As well. And that's ideally what you want.
Let's move around. This is so cool.
So it's a play, right?
It's a play, yeah. So it's about 8 to 10 minutes, I think, everyone's pieces, yeah.
You know, are you comfortable with where it's at the moment, or are you still working on like refining it? Or?
Yeah, so right now I would say it's 85-90%.
Oh, nice. Yeah, cool.
We're just working on like the finer details in terms of like lighting,
Yeah.
positioning of the actress. Yeah, so when I walked away from that beautiful creative day,
Yeah.
I was like, wow, there's a lot of us.
There is.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, what you were talking about with not seeing many Tongans there, or seeing many... I had a similar conversation with one of the women there, the store holders who were selling Tongan food.
Yeah.
And she was like, man, all the people that have been coming through are just Samoans. And I was like, that's because Samoans are the performing artists community of the Pacific. Like, they're the ones who put themselves out there, and they're the ones who are like happy to perform and show themselves off. And I think it speaks to this, maybe to this idea around us as Tongans, who, when we do step into performing arts and we express ourselves in ways that are just a little bit outside of the boundary of like the traditional Tongan stuff.
Yeah.
And it's almost like,
Yeah.
is it Tongan? Do we accept that as a culture, or do we just stick to our
so true, yeah.
traditional ma'ulu and whaiwa whakatonga? I don't know why, but it's so much more common to see Samoans in the performing arts spaces than you would with Tongans, right?
With Tongans. Yeah.
And I think maybe it is like we're just too comfortable in expressing. It's not that we don't see ourselves in different spaces outside of like the Tongan, traditional Tongan arts, but it's and this is true in the hip hop community that we grew up in, where like we see way more Samoan rappers and beat makers and whatnot than we would Tongans. I almost feel like the Tongans who maybe grew up around hip hop, I don't know. I actually don't know what it is, but yeah, it's a very interesting one. So I left Tonga in the mid '90s, and then whenever I'd see videos of Tonga, of like maybe like a talent show or something, like for example in the mid 2000s, I remember seeing like the Indian culture really was popular in Tonga.
Oh.
So then you'd see a lot of like at talent shows, kids doing Bollywood style performances.
Wow.
And so, and maybe it was just the videos that I saw that were like small examples, but it tells me that yes, we are traditional and we do stick to our traditions, but we're not afraid to express ourselves in different ways. So we're not afraid to like do a Bollywood number or do a dance that's a bit foreign to our culture. But yeah, when it comes to like, maybe it's in diaspora, I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
we
that's interesting.
don't express ourselves in different ways.
I even love that some of it is like a little bit cracked.
I like it too.
Yeah, that's like really beautiful.
Yeah. To me, that speaks to this idea around beauty as well. When you look at like the Fangufangu in the museums and the markings that they've made on it in the past, you don't see perfectly straight lines. You don't see like, straight lines. And to me, straight lines and perfectly straight lines and like very symmetrical kind of designs speaks to a more modern way of expressing beauty, that like symmetry is like perfect, that like it has to be exactly like measured the same way. Nature isn't necessarily like that. Like nothing is like exactly perfect or straight or like expresses itself in a way that like you have like a perfect circle or a perfect straight line. So I find a lot of beauty in the way that things aren't as straight or as like symmetrical, in the same way that the markings on the old Fangufangu in the museums, are definitely not straight line. They're a little bit crooked and a little bit like off kilter a little bit. So there's a lot of beauty in that, because to me that closely reflects nature than like a perfectly straight line. Because to me, perfectly straight lines reminds me of machines and like a modern way of like expressing yourself through like modern technology. which then relates to like a disconnect from nature, from the whanua, from where we come from and what we utilize. So then these cracks in here also like express a little bit of that beauty of nature as well.
Yeah.
Like this is just nature itself as well. This other thing around beauty as well. Are you familiar with futahelu?
Yes.
Futahelu? Yeah. So he talks about this idea of function and the relationship between function and beauty. And that the more beautiful something is, or the more functional something is, the more beautiful it is. So to me, an example of that is our koloa whakatonga. So ngatu, for example, is functional in the way that it transfers knowledge. And its ability to transfer knowledge through the kupesi, the different markings on it, is what makes it beautiful. Mm-hmm. So then, to me, in thinking about it in the context of a fangufangu, the sound of the fangufangu is its function. So the better the sounding the fangufangu, the more beautiful it is. And this, regardless of how aesthetically pleasing a fangufangu is, if it doesn't sound good, then there's no functional use for it.
Right.
It's like a knife that's not sharp, but it has gold and decorated in diamonds or whatever. If it's not cutting anything, it doesn't serve its purpose. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it looks beautiful, but there's no function to it. So, like through Futahelu's eyes, he'd be like, yeah, then it's not beautiful because it's not functional. It needs to be functional.
That makes sense, yeah.
In order for it to be beautiful. So that's where the beauty comes from, the sound of the fangufangu. Okay, I'm just gonna bind it.
Okay, no
cool
worries,
down a
yeah.
little bit, and then we'll be done.
I didn't realize it's the whole steps.
For making.
Yeah, I thought it was like, yeah, that's wow.
No. We're making it from scratch.
Oh my gosh.
No, and then
incredible.
that's the thing. Like to me, it's far more meaningful for me to give you something that you've been a part of from the start.
Yeah.
You've had your hands on it, and you've also contributed to the making of it. You really are a creature of expression, eh? Like you dive into all different types of art forms, eh? Nobody seems to have brought up your raps.
Oh yes.
Oi, I watched it, and you were young at the time, eh?
Yeah.
I watched it and I was like, bro, Diamond's got some bars, man. Diamond can spit. Holy cow. And what is that? Was it just a one-off thing or what's the story? Have you tried to come back into that?
Yeah, I think, dude, this new music I'm going to release, they're going to hear it slowly come back.
Some
yeah, because I feel like it's part of me.
Let's do it. Do you look up to any female rappers or?
I think I just look at it as a whole.
Yep, yeah.
And if I like it lyrically, I gravitate towards it.
Nice. Hey, so I'll get you to,
okay.
if you come up.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing is just pulling it back a bit and just rolling it.
Okay.
And try rolling it just so it keeps in line.
Okay, thanks, bro. And is there a specific binding you have to get?
You mean the material?
Yeah, the material.
At the moment, I'm just using like some material that some friends of mine's recommended from the Māori instruments that they bind.
Wow,
so
yes.
he just recommended this material, and I've just that's the first one that I bought, and that's the only one I've been using so far.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Wow.
So are you just doing rehearsals at the moment?
Yeah, we're just doing rehearsals.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting story, especially because a lot of the pieces are quite comedy or very light, and mine goes a little bit more deeper.
Yep.
And just talking about topics, sometimes I feel that we Tongans are afraid to talk about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just telling it for what it is.
Yeah. No, I think that's something that I've sort of come to appreciate in my older age, just in terms of like how I share things online. Like I have, for a lot of my life, I've been just creating little beat making content and stuff and just sharing it. And often it's just me, just more touching on like, I just want to hear the beat. That's it. Just play the beat, bro. Just show me the beat. That's what I've been interested in. But I've been more interested in like going a little bit in depth and showing a little bit of, if there's vulnerability, then show a bit of vulnerability, but more the human side of things.
Yes.
And I think it's too easy to just get caught up in just sharing things that are just about entertainment and doesn't really like give depth to the human sort of experience of things. I think what I'm more interested in now is how do I be more intentional and giving a bit of depth to the things that I share and the stories that I talk about. because I'm always concerned about the upliftment of our people and how do we bring our people up. So things are always sort of centered around that. Yo, Aussie.
Oh, thank you so much, bro. Yeah, thank you.
That's really good.
Wow, thank you. Yeah, wow. This is like more. I'm getting emotional. Yeah. Thank you so much for this. Like, yeah.
Yeah, we spent time making it together, exchanging thoughts, ideas, knowledge, stories, and that's the outcome of that little experience. Yeah, and then I think, and to me, this is like again, the outcome and the sort of part of the intended outcome is that we build this sort of relationship of understanding between each other, and then you've also had a hand in contributing to that as well. So then when you're giving it, when you're showing it to people, and again, I explained this to my cousin, with the fangufangu that I make and I give to people, my hope is that you do with it whatever you want, but you can also treat it like a koloa whakatonga, where like similar to the ngatu, where you might exchange it or give it away at a funeral or at a wedding or 21st or whatever it is. Then you can also treat it the same way. Like if you're not going to keep it for yourself, or you just hand it down to your children or whatever. And if you need another one, just let me know. Come around and we'll make another one.
Yeah, this is incredible.
But yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
All yours, Langi.
Yeah,
and
thanks, Mom. We need to get a picture.
Yeah.
Either outside or whanga mea, whatever you.
Yeah, where should we do it? Should we
Yeah.
outside?
Yeah. Man, thank you. My gosh.